But you know, a minute ago, I think in passing, you kind of put your finger on it, where you said, you know, it's not a matter of, oh, this technique or that technique. There's something that goes deeper than technique. There's something
Hmm.
that goes deeper here than methodology, and you kind of alluded to it in passing, which is some kind of, you know, underlying anxiety about, you know, there's a certain point on the spiritual path where we have to get somehow deep in our bones that ultimately, on the ultimate level, all is well. You know, God's in her heaven, all
Hmm.
is well. Or whatever phrase, whatever inadequate phrase expresses that to you. That, um, you know, and I know you've had glimpses of it.
Yeah.
You know, I know you've been practicing long enough and diligently enough that there are those moments where all the clouds clear and you go, my God, the sky, the boundless sky, and it's been there all along, even behind the clouds, right? And then the clouds come back and we forget again,
Yeah.
right? There's a, you know, and it's like mom, right? God in her heaven. So it's like mom, you know, with the little baby showing the baby the ball or the puppet, and then mom puts it behind her back, and as far as the baby's concerned, it's disappeared. And
Hmm.
mom brings it back again, and the baby goes, ah, wow, what a miracle! Now the ball has been created again, right? At a certain point in the baby's development, they develop what's called object permanence, right? The baby comes to understand, I forget what month of development typically it happens. The baby comes to understand that even when they can't see the ball, it's still there.
Hmm.
So there's something that analogous to object permanence that at a certain point we've got to develop as, you know, pilgrims on the spiritual path, which is, how many times does mom have to pull the thing out and show it to us and then pull it back before we realize it's there all along? Everything's fine. If I'm not experiencing it right now, if I'm having a crappy night's sleep, if I'm having a crappy day's meditation, or if I'm having a bad hair day in my life, I'm having a bad hair year in my life, still there's this ultimate level of okayness
Hmm.
that we just kind of give up to, you know. And to me, more and more, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. And it turns out to be, you know, very much, you know. And I was brought up without any, you know, formal religious affiliation. Um, you know, my parents were basically, you know, communists. They believed religion was the opium of the people, which was kind of cool. It gave me a, you know, blank slate to work from, no baggage. But I've come to understand that, at least for some people, in the word faith, which is often, you know, people just make that a synonym for belief. But I
Hmm.
think what faith really means is something much deeper than belief. You know, belief is like, okay, I believe that, you know, even if it flies in the face of all rationality, I believe that the oil burned in the temple for 8 days, or I believe that on the third day he rose, or I believe that, um, you know, the Quran was dictated to, and so uh, that's one thing, and that can have a certain value for people. But deeper than that is this faith, which is not dependent on belief, which does not need the oil to burn for 8 days. It's not something you could put in words. It's, I believe that X, Y. It's this just deep, abiding sense of ultimate for lack of a better word, ultimate and boundless and unconditional okayness that doesn't depend on having a good night's sleep, doesn't depend on having a good meditation, doesn't depend on having this job work out or this relationship work out. And you can't explain it to people, but um, for a while, I would say all the practice that we do, it's kind of like we're doing the practice to get to that sense of okayness.
Hmm.
And there's a certain point that, maybe sneaks up on us. It kind of, all this stuff, because it's natural, because it's organic, it kind of sneaks up behind your ears. And at a certain point, you might look around and realize, I'm not practicing to get to that place of okayness anymore. I'm practicing within that place of okayness.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that perspective is something that I can uh, keep in mind and find a little solace in, even though I know it may not alleviate the circumstance in the short term, because of course I've connected to, um, the truth
Yeah.
of stillness and peace and you know a rightness to the world, and I absolutely intellectually understand that it continues, whether or not it continues for me in my experience in the moment all the time.
Right.
But it still remains. And I think just bringing myself back to that,
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing that it's not going to solve
Yeah.
anything, is an important reminder.
But really, what that deep okayness is about is it's okay that it doesn't solve it.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that was me.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. Yeah, Dorothy, please.
Okay. I'm unmuted, right?
Yes, you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Dean, that okayness, the past 3 years, you have instilled that in me. And I really feel it on a daily basis. And I haven't been here for a few weeks, and a lot has happened since then. And that okayness has what do I want to say? Helped me to survive a
Mhm.
few things the past couple of weeks. One being the election. My friends all said to me, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to be okay." And no one, and it was of you and everything you've taught me over these 3 years. I didn't think I'd get through, but I did with flying colors. And then my husband once again was in the hospital, and that was really difficult. And I knew I had to hold it together and be okay for both of us. I thought of you, when I was there with him in the emergency room, and I can't even begin to thank you and tell you that, like, you got me through it. And it's also, I'm realizing for me, meditation is a discipline. And I know when I need to put that discipline into action.
Mhm.
And when you do and it works out and you can leave a situation that you're not, that you, okay, it's okay, it's going to be okay, it's such a gift. And you've given that to me, Dean, over this past 3 years. And I think, like I said, with just that okayness, that really helps with so many situations from the
Yeah.
minute I wake up in the morning. And I repeat that throughout the day. Your okayness thing, that is really that, and you're not suffering. You about not suffering and choosing not to suffer,
Mhm.
and just being okay with things. And like I said, my friends during the election, they just could not believe I was as cool as a cucumber. And it really helped me through that and another
Why,
situation.
by the way, that's why I always say you don't have to evangelize your friends with this stuff because it
Right.
doesn't work anyway. But you just hang out and practice and live your life
Mhm.
long enough, and after a while, people go, "Well, how come you're the only one in the room here who's not?" You
No,
know,
they said that to me,
yeah.
and I gave you all the credit. I did.
Let me just, I mean, and I love hearing
Mhm.
reports like this. I mean, to me, this is the best thing in the world. But just one little thing that I would tweak when you say, I instilled it in you, I gave it to you. I
You
mean,
did.
thanks, but really, No one can give it to anyone. No one can instill it in anyone. You did this. You,
But with your
you
help and your guidance, Dean.
the
I
the
mean it.
yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. But the really wonderful analogy for this, once again from my old teacher Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he said that the teaching is full. He says it's like the reservoir. The reservoir is there. It's full.
Mhm.
It's full. To get the water to your individual home, in other words, to get that fullness of okayness into your individual life, you have to come. You have to you have to lay the pipe, right? You have to, and then it'll flow from the side of the teachers and the teaching. Really, there's no doing. That the teachers are just being. They're just being it, and if you open up the sluice gate, then it comes into your life.
Well, like I said, I had never done meditation before I started with you 3 years ago. And you, I
Yep.
don't know, I have to give you a lot of credit. But like I said, it's discipline. And I do, meditate every day. And it has really made a difference in my life, in my situation, to help me handle things um,
And
a lot
I
better.
see it just looking at you through this computer screen. I mean, really, your face is so compared with 3 years ago.
I
It,
remember walking in three
yeah.
years ago, and I remember the one session you had, Dean. You were talking about, in life we always have like a little, like a little pebble in our shoe.
Hmm.
There'll always be that little pebble in the shoe. And I came up to you after that class. I said, "A pebble. I have a boulder in both shoes, but I don't feel like that anymore. I mean, the boulder's still there, but I don't feel it as much."
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's
Thank you,
great.
Dean.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Nothing makes me happier than
Oh, well, thank you.
yeah.